Hello, my love. I am so grateful to get to meet you wherever you are today for our holiday challenge. Wherever you are emotionally, wherever you are in the world, whatever you're celebrating. We have women from everywhere with different traditions and different ways of being. And I know that there is so many different things we're experiencing as this challenge goes on. And I'm grateful to get to be before you today in a really vulnerable space to share a challenge with you that has become a very vulnerable tradition and a huge cornerstone in the holiday challenge and in my program, Mentor Masterclass, the full life coach training. I believe that your mess is a huge part of your brilliance in the world. And when we learn that divine masculine energies exist in us and in the world, and distorted masculine energies exist in us and in the world, and divine feminine energies exist in us and in the world, and distorted feminine energies exist in us and in the world. When we learn that, what those are, and how to marry them together into wholeness, we start to see how our mess can become our message, how as feminine women we're not meant to deny the messy parts of ourselves, but instead when we recognize those and work toward healing, they become the foundation from which we can achieve our dreams and build our businesses, especially as coaches and healers. So a few years ago, in 2014, I was running the holiday challenge. I was preparing to and needing to film the Christmas Day video. I had not yet filmed my video. It was going to go out the next morning. It was Christmas Eve. And I had my mother here. And I experienced a complete mental breakdown in a moment where I was leading a challenge for thousands of women around the world, had reached a deadline where I needed to share and create my challenge and get it to my team so they could post the video. Actually, at that time, I don't even think I had a team. I think it was me and one other person, maybe a VA. And I was having a mental breakdown. I did not feel like I could get myself on camera. And I want to tell you a little bit about my relationship with my mother because it's revealing of my mess and what I believe is also my brilliance in my work. I have a very strange relationship with my mother. She was a drug addict. She was clean for many years, but now struggles with pill addiction. She has mental illness, bipolar. She lives alone on government housing in a desert area by herself in California. And every year when the holidays hit, I used to feel this sense of guilt and shame that my mother was alone and poor and struggling while I was creating and having this beautiful life with my in-laws. We celebrate a beautiful Christmas. We have amazing traditions. I have a very beautiful home and family. And a lot of the time that would be distorted, or I would be challenged with enjoying that experience because of the suffering that I thought my mom was going through. So I had this bright idea one year that maybe if I just paid for her, got her on a plane, brought her to my house, she could have a beautiful experience. We could build a connection that we've never had. Maybe now is the time that she could be the mother I always wanted. Or I think in the distorted, I could mother her in some way, which was my old way of relating to her. And so I did that. I was able to get her on a plane and get her to my house, and I had this vision of how things would go, and I'm sure you can imagine that having her energy come into my house did not go as I had planned, and it was much more confronting and challenging than I ever believed possible. I'm well resourced when it comes to mindset tools, sisterhood, taking care of my own emotions, handling other people in lower vibrations, raising those vibrations. It's my work in the world. And of course, when it's our work in the world, we're faced with it so that we constantly have to work it and heal it. It's our mirror always. And for me, my mother is always that mirror of what I'm trying to heal in myself, in the world, in my clients, through my work. My passion for it stems from the darkness and challenge that comes from our relationship. And I really believe my mother and I have a soul contract, that she was willing to come into this world and be in this darkness and present these challenges so that I could learn and grow and become the healer and teacher on a bigger scale that I would if I didn't have this relationship. And so here she was in my home, and I was not doing well with it. I was not able to handle watching the addiction that I thought had, that I didn't know was as bad as it was. I had a real challenge with the way that she spoke to me and lack of appreciation. Her mental illness, I struggled with knowing how to respond to it, and I had a real breakdown. And in that moment, I couldn't rely on old resources, the distorted feminine and distorted masculine of trying to power through on my own, figure it out, just pull myself together, stuff down my emotions and show up. I really literally was on my bathroom floor crying and so upset at how the visit was going and unable to deal with the emotions. And so I had to do a few things. I had to call a sister, a mentor and teacher who I really trusted, and tell her none of my resources or tools are working in this moment, and receive her support. And I had to really lean on my husband and my mother-in-law to figure out what to do. And with both of their support, I did some tapping with my mentor, and I did some just talking, emotion vomiting with my mother-in-law and sister-in-law, and I was able to come up with a divine masculine structure and boundaries to get through the next week and a half before I sent my mother home, so that I can enjoy our holiday, show up for all the clients I was serving around the world, but also leave room for my feminine emotions to flow. And so what that boundary looked like was getting my mother a place to stay and taking breaks away from her and getting out on my own, and then sharing that with the other family members, allowing them to be with her and have them spend time with her so that I could have some space to process and be alone. And so I showed up to filming that video that day during that holiday challenge with tears down my face, really sharing this story about this relationship with my mother, and allowing myself to show my messiness, even while in the midst of my business, where I'm really trying to show women what a powerful leader I am, reveal my wisdom, my strength, the power and transformation of my program. And I used to believe that I would have to hide or keep those messy parts away in order to help women come to know my work in the world, that my mess would take away from that. But what I learned is the opposite, that we all as women over the years, I've learned more and more, have so much mess that truly is our brilliance. And it's only when we're able to be receptive, when we're able to allow our messiness, when I would allow the divine masculine structures to work with the divine feminine structures. For example, creating the container where I had to show up and film that video. That's the divine masculine. That's the way we can create structure in our business to call us through emotion, but not stuffing down my emotion or powering through, allowing the divine feminine to move through me, for me to feel what I felt, to be receptive and supported, and to show up anyways with trust and vulnerability. And this is when I started to realize that we are women, and we can't hide our messiness in order to achieve success. We are women. We cannot power through the challenging things and pretend they don't exist in order to achieve success. We are women. We cannot get lost in our emotion and let our emotions take us away from showing up. And so my challenge for you today, and what I hope you take away from this, and what I have harnessed from this lesson in my life and continue to as I'm in relationship with my mother and healing around my ability to self-nurture, to not lean into the masculine because I wasn't taught the feminine in our relationship, is to find the space of wholeness. And I want to share a couple ways with the challenge today that you can begin to practice this. Now let me say this. If you have mother wounds, you're not going to heal them with today's challenge. If you struggle with the balance between the masculine ways of our society or the distortion of feminine and getting lost in your emotion and not being able to create your business, you're not going to heal it in today's challenge. I have taken this as a devotion inside my signature training mentor masterclass. And what we work on for a year is I actually provide a container that allows the divine masculine to support the divine feminine. And today I'm going to give you a little bit of a challenge around how to begin to do this, and you will experience a shift if you participate. So I'm excited. So here's my holiday challenge for you today. The first is to answer this question. You can do it for yourself in your journal, or you can do it in our group. And if you're really feeling vulnerable and want to share live on your social media platforms, what is the thing that you believe is most messy, the messiest thing about you or your life that you believe is a block or something that keeps you from achieving success or being able to run a successful coaching business? So what is the thing you believe is messiest about you personally or about your life circumstances that you identify as something that will hold you back or limits you from being truly successful in being able to go after your dreams, specifically many of you who are trying to become a life coach or build a successful coaching business with financial freedom? What's the thing that you always say, it's because of this messy thing? Like for me, it was because I was constantly worried about my mother in so many forms. I was worried about my success and financial success because what she would come asking for. I was worried about not being emotionally well enough because of the challenges that I used to face before, healing a lot of it, and still to this day I have pieces left. So what is that for you? Now, the second part is I want you to journal about, or just allow your intuition to pull for you, what is a divine masculine structure, commitment, loyalty, discipline. I'll say those again. Structure, discipline, loyalty, or commitment. A divine masculine structure, discipline, loyalty, or commitment. That's what the divine masculine is. Distorted masculine is overpowering, forcing, ego-based, powering through. Divine masculine is structure, commitment, loyalty. It is discipline. What is a divine masculine structure that you can create to allow yourself to keep showing up for your dreams and your business in a feminine way? So let me merge those for you. The feminine is flow, it's devotion, it's receptivity, it's receiving support, it's allowing yourself to feel your emotions, to have cyclical feelings of your emotions, to be vibrant and happy and thriving and fierce, and to be messy and crying and dark and solitude. These are cyclical in nature as a feminine woman. So what I'm asking you is this thing that you think is messy. I want you to contemplate a divine masculine structure you can create to allow your feminine to flow. And by doing this, by just thinking about it, you're starting to recognize that these energies exist in you. You're merging them into wholeness, and you're beginning to heal and bring your mess into your brilliance and into service. It's really not that complicated. So let me give you an idea to simplify this of how I do this inside my signature training mentor masterclass. So the entire program is set up to help women create divine masculine structures for their unique essence and business model that would allow their feminine creation to flow within it. So here's one example. If you feel like your messiest thing is that you feel, let's say, you feel like you're too overweight, or your body isn't at the perfect place to get yourself on camera or to take pictures for your brand. Okay, let's say this is something that feels messy to you. It's one random thing that women struggle with in their first year of business when I'm working with them. One of the divine masculine structures I have in place is we meet in weekly sister circles. It's the same time every week. It's the same women every week. It's a devotion that I ask you to commit to in order to receive your certification for your life coaching and business training. And the women really call each other out if they don't show up. So that's the divine masculine structure, right? That's the structure, the discipline, the loyalty, the commitment that is placed for women to show up to. Now, the divine feminine is that in that circle, women will talk about and are invited to talk about the messy parts of themselves, to in a safe space with myself. I jump on once a month in these circles to coach you around this, and the other women are there. We talk about these things that are coming up as blocks into the actions we want to take in our business. So let's say it's that photo shoot. You would come to your circle and talk about the silly idea that you're too overweight or you're not ready or you need to be thin before you can take your pictures or get on video in order to create that trustable content to share with your tribe to call in your dream clients. By talking through this with women who know this as a block, they're going to support you. So you see how that's one way, that's one idea of how to create a divine masculine structure that allows the divine feminine receptivity, vulnerability, receiving support to take place. There are many ways that this can look. This can look like setting a reminder on your phone is the divine masculine that has a question that pulls out your divine feminine. This can be telling someone in your life to check in with you on a certain date to see if you've done this thing that you're holding back on. This can be hiring a coach or signing up for Mentor Masterclass when you learn more about the program on the live themes call later this in a week or so. It could be that you sign up and you create that structure for your feminine to flow. I want you to think about right now and really decide and use your own intuition, because only you know what's best for you. What is the divine masculine structure you can create for the divine feminine to flow through you when it comes to going after your dreams and healing that thing that you believe is messy that stops you? So I want to thank you, ladies, for allowing me to be vulnerable and share with you a little bit more about my relationship with my mother and the inspiration I pull from that to learn to self-nurture, self-love, self-care. It's a huge cornerstone. Now you might see why this challenge is so important to me and why I created it. Because for those of us who don't and weren't taught self-love or nurturing and don't have great examples, we need these mentors and these women and this sisterhood to curate and practice. And a huge piece I know for you being successful in going after your dreams and building your business is to come into deeper understanding and alignment of what the divine masculine is, what the divine feminine is, and that your mess is actually a huge cornerstone and the foundation of your brilliance, and you don't have to hide it. You don't have to pretend it's not there, and you can work through it and walk your talk. So please find a way to share this, whether you want to take a photo of your journal or really a picture of the person that's going to be that divine masculine container and support. However, you can use a picture to identify in a creative way that you have followed through on completing this structure of divine masculine for your feminine to flow, and of course, just owning your mess, really letting us hear about those things that you think are messy or keeping you from being truly successful in running your own business and becoming a coach or taking your coaching business to the next level. I want to remind you guys that the scholarship application is your reflection workbook. So if you have some extra space, I can catch up, on Sunday next week if you need to, or later this week when we have catch-up day. We'll have some catch-up days at the end of the challenge before we turn them in. If you're going for the scholarship, you can fill that out. If you are interested in learning more about the full-length program, make sure you're on the Power of Themes Sisterhood Celebration Call. I put that on your calendar and attend. If for some reason you can't make it, I'll send you the replay, and there'll be lots of chance to talk about things later. For now, I'd love for you to just focus on owning your mess as your brilliance, claiming it out loud in our sisterhood and with those you feel ready to, and really starting to dream up and intuit this divine masculine space for your feminine to flow. I'm really excited to see what shifts and what you have to say, and also hopefully not to be alone in my vulnerability, to hear and get to know a little bit more about you. Thank you for watching this. I will see you with tomorrow's challenge, and I can't wait.